William McNeil Jr. I would just like to apologize completely from all the white people out here that think that that was total fucking bullshit. And I don't care if I just cuss the first 30 seconds of this. That should be the least of anybody's concern. How are you going to actively hold somebody's hands behind their back, then hit them with a straight uppercut? Along with that, how are you going to put your hands on his face in general when he was not being aggressive at all and was literally just letting you ragdoll him around?
Welcome back to my channel, Yano Show. KE, hope you are good, hope you are fine. I just want to welcome you, everyone in my channel. Feel free, feel welcome, feel at home. So guys, I just want to talk about the sad story here in USA, whereby we've seen that a police officer punched and brutally harassed 22-year-old William McNeil simply because that he didn't light his headlights, and he gave his explanation saying that there are so many cars that they have not light their cars. So guys, today early on, the white people have now come through to speak about this story, and we've seen that the video has gone viral simply because of the brutality of the police to this the 22-year-old boy. So guys, I don't know what is your take on this story, but I just want to react on some of the reaction of the white people reacting on this story. So don't go anywhere, just subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Quick update about the video that I just posted about William McNeil Jr. from Florida being brutalized by the police officers. So, article just came out. No criminality was found. Did y'all watch the same video that I did? Because that was absolutely horrendous, outrageous. I don't care what kind of excuses or BS they're going to pull and try to say it was justified in any kind of way. It just wasn't. It was cruel, it was brutal, and it was not okay. Absolutely disgusting behavior. This is why we say defund the police. This is why there are so many people who protest against the police because of brutality like this, and it is consistently against minorities, and it is a real problem in this country that needs to be addressed, and the sooner we do that, the faster this country can turn around. It's one of the biggest problems in our society today, in my opinion.
22-year-old William McNeil Jr. has become the center of a growing firestorm after a now viral video captured a disturbing traffic stop involving officers from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. What began as a routine encounter has exploded across social media. Footage from the scene shows officers aggressively confronting McNeil at his vehicle. Within moments, one officer shatters the driver's side window, while another is seen striking McNeil, then dragging him from the car. According to law enforcement statements, McNeil was non-compliant, refusing to roll down his window, locking his doors, and using language. Officers claim he ignored multiple commands, prompting a necessary escalation of force. But McNeil, along with his family, legal team, and a growing chorus of online supporters, denies those claims. He maintains that he remained calm, asked respectfully for a supervisor, and simply wanted clarification on the legal basis for the stop. At no point, he says, did he resist arrest. McNeil's injuries include a concussion, a chipped tooth over 9 stitches, and temporary memory loss. Civil rights attorneys Harry Daniels and Ben Crump, well known for their work in high-profile police misconduct cases, are now representing McNeil. They describe the officer's actions as an outrageous abuse of power, calling for immediate accountability and transparency from the department.
Want to know why Black Americans still don't trust the police? Here's a great example. This is William McNeil Jr., pulled over in the daytime because his headlights weren't on in possibly inclement weather. He was calm, compliant. He even put his hands in the air. He asked why he was being stopped. He asked for a supervisor. He showed no threat to anyone whatsoever. He never resisted. Then, all of a sudden, they smashed his window. He didn't fight back. Still, he didn't run. He didn't resist. And then an officer who is not supposed to be above the law, what did he do? He threw a punk-ass punch. There was no reason for that punch. Then, sadly, 3 officers dragged him out and beat him while he was still, once again, not resisting. Look at that knockout punch. Watch it carefully. All that for headlights in the daytime. No resistance. And yes, he had every right to ask for a supervisor. We all do. And don't tell me this isn't about race, because it is. Had he been white, like me, Do you honestly think that would have happened to him? You know the answer. Let's not fool each other. It wouldn't have. This is why Black Americans don't trust the police. It's not paranoia. It's what they have to live through. William McNeil got fists for using his voice to ensure his rights were protected. And what happened to the officers? Were they arrested? Were they charged? Nope and nope. Administrative leave, a paid Netflix marathon vacation for beating a man on camera. That's not justice, and justice isn't for just us. It's supposed to be for all of us. We're all supposed to have the same rights. But only one group keeps getting reminded that their rights end the moment a cop gets annoyed or his fragile ego or God complex is injured or questioned. Wusses with a badge. These pathetic excuses for cops need to be removed from the force, charged with assault, and jailed like the criminals they are for betraying public safety and the image of good, honest, hard-working cops who do follow the rules. Call this what it is: racism, protection, and unacceptable for this country. Thank you very much. Please like, comment, share, and follow, and have a great day.
They smashed his window and then punched him in the face. Smashed his window and then punched him more than once in the face and then ripped him out of the car. Because why? Because he wanted to speak to a supervisor. He calmly asked to speak to a supervisor after being pulled over for unknown reasons to him, and later being told that he didn't have his headlights on during bad weather. Got it. So the next time I hear any of you say, why don't they just comply? Why don't they just listen to the officers? He was. He did. And who cares if he didn't? They're clearly the criminals here, not him.
If you haven't seen this footage, you need to watch it, because the sheriff has just come out and said that none of these officers violated criminal law. You see, this is 22-year-old William Anthony McNeil, and he was pulled over by police for not having his headlights on in bad weather. In the video, William can be heard telling the officers that there are many other cars without their headlights on, and regardless, it wasn't raining. But when he refused to step out the car and asked to see their supervisor, the officer to his left proceeds to not only break the window, but also punch him in the face. He remains calm and he puts his hands up, but despite this, he gets punched in the face for the second time and then wrestled to the ground. He was later charged with resisting arrest without violence, possessing not more than 20 grams of marijuana, driving with a suspended license, and not having his headlights on in bad weather. He was even sentenced to 2 days in jail. Now here's the thing, this didn't happen yesterday. This happened 5 months ago, and the Jacksonville sheriff said, quote, the state attorney's office has determined that none of these officers violated criminal law. But now, thanks to the fact that William's POV has gone viral on social media, the officers are now being placed under a second internal review to determine if their actions violated Jacksonville police policy, not necessarily criminal law. William has now also hired a lawyer himself to take legal action, and his lawyers claim that the police report omits key details like the use of force, saying the narrative in their police report isn't just suspicious, it's completely divorced from reality. The question is, what do you guys think?
So I've been repeatedly asked to weigh in on the William McNeil Jr. incident. I guess because people aren't fucking angry enough about it yet. And here's my thoughts on it. I'm going to adopt the exact same thing that so many of you liberals have been throwing into my comments lately. That being, he should have just complied. He is the reason he got punched in the face. And let's be real about this for a second. This man did almost everything wrong you could be doing in a car. He was driving on a suspended license, which is an arrestable offense. He was driving without insurance, which is an arrestable offense. And he had weed on him, which is an arrestable offense. Before y'all start talking about why was he pulled over in the first place, in Florida, In inclement weather, you have to turn your headlights on. It's not a fucking request. And for all you people saying, oh, the sky looked clear, you very obviously don't fucking live in Florida. We can have perfectly clear skies and have a fucking rainstorm. We can also have perfectly clear skies and then a mile later have a hurricane. So just because you didn't see the weather, that doesn't make it okay. Was it like a valid reason to pull somebody over? It's cheap, but also dude should have just complied. But he didn't, not because he was like enforcing his constitutional rights, but because he knew he was driving on suspended with no insurance, with weed in the car. The dude didn't comply because he was committing a fuckload of crimes at the same time. So yeah, he got punched in the face. As so many of you liberals have put in my comments recently, should have just complied.
I understand some people see this as racial profiling. I understand some people see it because of the color of the skin. But my point is, regardless of whether the guy is black, white, Asian, doesn't really matter. Those cops had no right to treat that guy like they did. You know what I mean? You break the window, you punch the guy immediately, then tell him to get out. Why not just tell him to get out and then give him chances to get out? He was asking questions. He wasn't even refusing. He was asking questions. Why are you pulling me out? Why this? Why that? He has the right to ask what is going on. And you're telling me that you don't have the patience? If you don't have the patience, you should not be a cop. One of the main things they teach at the academy is to de-escalate. If you don't have the patience, then you should be a cop. That's plain and simple. You need to learn how to de-escalate. So if tensions are high, bring it down. Don't escalate it. Don't let it go far where you have to act the way you act and do something you stupid like that. But regardless, what do you guys think is the reason the cops acted this way? Is it because of the color of his skin? And also, what should happen to the cop? Please leave me a comment below.
The William McNeil Jr. arrest now has gotten more interesting with the body cam footage being released earlier by the actual sheriff's department. Now, here's the thing. As a person who was a career DOT driver at one point in this state for well over 7 years, I'm going to go ahead and shine some light on some of the laws people think they know about Florida, but they clearly don't. First things first. They pulled him over for the headlight infraction. He was driving without his headlights on in the middle of the day during inclement weather, they said. Now, here's the thing about the body cam footage. It's quite incriminating to the cops because it shows that not only was it not inclement weather, it was overcast. It was not raining. It was not fog. There was no reduced visibility. There was no mist, which means legally he did not have to have his headlights on in the state of Florida, which state those are the only instances in which we have to have them on in a combination with our windshield wipers, unless you were driving in the twilight hours of the day or between sunset and sunrise. This stop happened at 4:15 in the afternoon is when he was arrested. This video goes on for several minutes, meaning he was pulled over sometime between 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 4:10, and then his arrest happened at 4:15. Now, aside from that, let's take a look at the body cam footage on the other half of that. Whereas the cops who then said, remember, he got pulled over for not having his headlights on, cops on the body cam footage then pull up for backup without their headlights on. Then you also have the problem of the seatbelt. Now, when the body cam footage starts, it's the cop getting out of his car. The driver opens his door and sets his foot out of the car. However, he states it's because his window does not roll down, so he's trying to communicate with the officer. And as far as concerned, people are trying to say, well, he didn't have his seatbelt on. Prove on camera where he was driving without his seatbelt on. He had the car off, door open. He could have already undone his seatbelt in between that and the cop getting out of his car. You do see later when they yank him out of the car, however, they reach across his lap and throw his seatbelt off of him before pulling him out of the car and assaulting him and then throwing his ass to the ground as far as that's concerned. So I don't know why you guys think that regardless of how everything ensued, and sure, if he had a suspended license, whatever's going on with that, fine. The stop itself was unlawful. The stop itself did not violate a single law. Unless the cops can prove that he was driving without a seatbelt on, which the body cam footage does not show, nor does McNeil's footage show, then this stop at the time of recording, as we know, is bullshit. And that's the problem here. And his lawyer, McNeil's lawyer, is going to have a fucking field day with it.
An investigation has been launched on why police beat this man and broke his window. This man by the name of McNeil was asking the police officers after they pulled him over, why it was required for him to turn on his taillights during the daytime. And I'm not talking about, when you hit the brakes, turns red. I'm talking about when you turn your lights on, your brake lights come on. It lights up a little bit. That's so people can see you at night. He was asking why that was required during the day, and the officers, for whatever reason, broke his window and punched him on the face twice, and then threw him to the ground. They had no idea he was recording. It's a whole 2-minute video. The guy really did nothing wrong. He was just confused on what was going on here, and he was asking some valid questions. He wasn't being rowdy or anything like that. He was being very civil, asking normal questions. On the report, the officer said he was driving without headlights or taillights during inclement weather, and he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. However, as you can see with your own eyes, it's clear outside in this picture. It's also clear outside, crystal clear, very sunny in the video. And as you can see right here, the guy was wearing a seatbelt too. The man also sustained a concussion and now has short-term memory loss because of this altercation. Almost all of the citations they gave him were dismissed. I think the citation he got hit with was resisting an officer without violence. Honestly, he was just questioning the guy. They found marijuana and a large knife. However, that doesn't give them a reason to beat this guy senseless and give him brain issues now. I think if they had answered his questions, it would have been fine. They didn't have to fight and do all this stuff. I hope he sues them and I hope he gets money because this is kind of ridiculous here. Let me know your opinions in the comments.
A shocking video of police assaulting a black man in his car and smashing his window in Jacksonville has been going viral. Now, the video starts with 22-year-old William Anthony McNeil being pulled over by the police for not having his headlights on in bad weather. And you can hear William telling the officers there's loads of other cars without their headlights on and it's not even raining. Now, William refuses to step out of the car and asks to see the police officer's supervisor, and then what happens next is shocking and disturbing to watch. One of the officers breaks his car window, then proceeds to punch William in the face whilst he is just sitting still, not being aggressive to them whatsoever. It was totally unnecessary. William even puts his hands up to show the officers he's not a threat, and the police officers decide to drag him out of the car, punch him in the face for a second time, and then more officers come over, start grabbing him and wrestling him to the ground. It literally looks like they jumped this man. This does not look like something a supposedly professional police officer should be doing. The police later charged him with resisting arrest without violence, possession of 20 G's of loud, driving with a suspended license, and not having headlights on in bad weather. William even got sentenced to 2 days in jail for this, and this video actually happened 5 months ago. And the Jacksonville sheriff has said the state attorney's office has determined that none of the involved officers violated criminal law. But since the video has gone so viral over the last few days, the officers are being placed under a second investigation. And this is to see if their actions violated the Jacksonville police policy, not a criminal law. Now, William has hired his own lawyer, and the lawyer is saying that the police have admitted key details like the use of force, saying the narrative in their police report isn't just suspicious, it is completely divorced from reality. But what do you guys think about this situation? When I watched that video, I thought it was horrible to watch, completely disturbing, and it looks like those police officers need to be fired. If I'm honest, I think they just made William a very rich man from this lawsuit that they are hopefully about to lose. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this whole situation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure that you follow Honcho's house for more updates.
William McNeil Jr. I would just like to apologize completely from all the white people out here that think that that was total fucking bullshit. And I don't care if I just cuss the first 30 seconds of this. That should be the least of anybody's concern. How are you going to actively hold somebody's hands behind their back, then hit them with a straight uppercut? Along with that, how are you going to put your hands on his face in general when he was not being aggressive at all and was literally just letting you ragdoll him around? To anybody that thinks that anything like that is okay, I firmly invite you to Florida to come fade me. And to every one of those cops out there that thinks that that was a proper use of force, I'm sorry it's been 6 years since you've seen your cock, but that's not my problem. If nobody knows what I'm talking about, I'm going to put a hashtag down in the bio so that you guys can go see the absolute bullshit that law enforcement thinks that they can take. I firmly believe in justice, and I firmly believe in people having a freedom of speech, and I firmly believe in having law enforcement as a presence of protection, but that was not protection. That was straight harassment and bullying. And if there's one thing in this world that I absolutely cannot stand, it's a fucking bully. So TikTok might take this down, it's fine. I'm going to save it before. That way I can repost it until it gets the correct traction, because if this has not been dissolved, then it needs to be immediately, and there should be no question that every law enforcement officer in that interaction deserves to be fired and arrested for abuse of authority, assault and battery, domestic violence, and a hate crime, because I firmly believe that was a targeted incident.